All right, let's have a look.
Okay, let me bring my cards up.
Well, I noticed today already Trump's been quoted as saying by his press secretary, she quoted and I shared it, that he said he would deal with Iran in the next week or two. So
Right.
the hotness came off of it, I think. Like he was saying Friday he was going to announce if he's going to be in the war.
Oh, Janine, you're frozen on my end. Hello, hello. Can anybody see either Janine or myself? Can you give us a 5x5? Oh, hey, Janine.
Hey,
Something
losing
happened there.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I lost you there. You were talking about how Trump says that he, in 1 to 2 weeks, will make a decision on Iran. Is that what you were about to say?
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
for some crazy reason, I'm doing a zodiac here, and I didn't even plan to. So
Okay.
I'm just going to keep doing it because that's a
Cool.
good way to look at like this will be a kind of a big read, but let's have a look.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be huge. Yeah. Are you okay with that, or
We had
should I read?
No,
Should I
I'm totally okay with that. And
forget?
be forewarned, everybody, there's some kind of special energy going on because sorry to stop your flow there for a second, Janine, but we had some pretty crazy things come up in our viewers' question show today. So
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued. If you guys have not catch that yet, you can go check that out. So very intrigued to see what's going to come up in today's show.
So this is a zodiac. That's what I do when I do a zodiac. And for some reason, I just automatically did a zodiac. So I'm going to go with it, you guys. So I'm not going to get too involved in the zodiac, like the logistics of it. It's a layout. It's a big complex layout. So I'm just going to read what I'm getting it saying, but I'm not going to explain because usually I go around the zodiac and explain, but that takes about 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow.
Sometimes 30 minutes. Yeah. So we're going to do it the short version, and I'm going to read what I get. So if you're feeling like you wanted more explanation, go on over to Tarot by Janine, and I do my zodiac once a month, and I do explain it all that in that zodiac spread. But here we've got the Six of Swords. So this is how we're behaving and how we're feeling. So we just got clarity. I feel like even Trump saying that. So the heat came off the whole Iran situation. And I'm not sure. I don't want to misspeak or say the wrong country. But so the heat for that. And then here, but there's still a lot of people out there, probably a lot of people that maybe don't watch shows like this and don't follow all the tweets and sort of posts that Trump makes, are probably still really worried that there's going to be this big third world war. They just don't realize we're in one. We've been in one for years. Okay. Now here, this is around the financial situation. Very interesting cards here. This is like brilliant. I always read these across from each other. So one clarifies the other. Goes like that, right? So the Ace of Pentacles that's in the house of Taurus is saying that we're in better financial shape, even though we might not be seeing it in our bank accounts yet or literally in our countries yet. But the world is there's something being offered here that's sovereign and gives us less overreach by the government financially. And in the next year, we're really going to benefit from that. So I'm going to just say that. That's the short version of what that says there. Now we're going to get the Emperor here. This is in what's being spoken, talked about, what's in the media, what is there on everybody's mind, and what's everybody talking about. Now, I have noticed this in the last couple of years. It's really ramped up, but Trump's in the news and he's got all of the attention of the media. Even if it appears negative, he has all the attention. Think about it. Things are not, everything revolves around Trump. All the news does. right? And you might think I'm wrong about that, but really look and lace it back. It'll all somehow lace back to Trump. But I believe it laces back to the White Hat Alliance. So I'm going to go with Trump being the brand of the White Hat Alliance. And I feel like that's by design. Okay, that's by design. And even the bad press, they're wanting all eyes on, because big reveals are happening. He's revealing really big things and taking us. So he's the front of the White Hat Alliance. He's taking us in new territory. Okay, so watch his tweets and things, like even today, and even in the funny one that ill Trump. I can never say the parody tweets of his. Trumpito or whatever it's called. Can't remember what the name of that account is, but it is actually Trump, and or it's managed by the White Hat Alliance. Let's say that, because I doubt if it's literally Trump sitting there saying those things. I feel like it's all like a great big rollout in a big theater. Like we got a big theater thing going on, and he has a lot of help putting these tweets out. Okay, that's my opinion, and that's just what I've seen in the cards. But this looks like that's by design, because he's going to be posting things that are absolute truth. And like we already had the one about Obama, all roads lead to Obama. Today they were saying things about, like, they've been on Hillary today. And there was and I shared it. Yeah, it was about, hey, if Iran keeps, acting up, basically, we're going to send in our best hitman, Hillary. Yeah. So, and then there was quite a few things said about Hillary's, I get, what is it called? Suicide count, or what do they call that?
The Clinton body count. Isn't that what it is?
Sorry. Yeah, my brain just can't come up with the words today, but yeah, the Clinton body count. So keep your eyes on what he's tweeting and what he's putting out, posting on Truth Social, because all the truths are going to be dropped there. He's dropping them, and it's ramping up, you guys. Okay, so that's why they want all eyes on him, even if they're using a little trickery to get you to pay attention to what he's doing. Killary, exactly what that person said, Killary. Okay, so here we've got the 8. Now, this is in the home place, so in the root and what grounds us right now. Okay, things are starting to pile up. They don't really make entirely sense unless you're really looking and you're really trying to lace it all together. But this card says they're working up to lacing it all together. And I feel like July, August is so we're still in the dropping big truth bombs, and even in July, August, they could be doing that. But I feel like they start lacing it together a little better for us, and maybe late August, September, October, really big reveals have already happened. Maybe they say by October, or I'm thinking by October, we've really got most of the goods out in the public, and his tweets are leading the way. That's what it looks like. Okay, I mean, it was even like Kash Patel even like was in some big sessions in the last couple of days while all this stuff's going on about Iran and Israel. And they literally, the leader of the FBI, or the director, is saying, Kash Patel is saying, 2020 was a stolen election. Like it's literally spoken. It's said, it's proven. Right. It's not just in our truther community. So even if they choose to ignore it, the mainstream media, that's a ploy too somehow. I feel like that's a way we out the mainstream media by, because I think they're puppeted by the White Hat Alliance. So it's pretty complex. But this card says a lot of it starts lacing together now this summer, where it starts to make more sense. We're building up. There's a lot of building up and truth dropping. And then it starts to get really, we start tying things together here. Here we've got the Lovers across. So this is incoming. Okay. And the 6. So a lot of what you're going to see Trump doing is, even though he looked like he was like, ready to go to war with that Iran supreme leader or whatever. He was saying kind of mean things about him. Then all of a sudden, he's ready to be friendly with them.
Right.
He's like, I think we can make some kind of a deal. Maybe we can sit down in the White House. Like this, you're going to see this time and again. And I feel like we're moving towards a lot of peace deals. I feel like, and I feel like all of these deals have been done and we're just seeing them play out literally like a play. So the deals have been done. So these are deals made. These are shaking hands in the background. These are political deals made, and they're right across from each other. We're going to see a lot of that, and a lot of alliances, and they've already been formed, and a lot of capitulation already happened too, and that happened like way back, 2016, 2017, when he did the capitulation tour. That's when that happened. Right. And then now we're seeing, they're outing that there's a lot of these deals already forged. Okay. So here we've got the 10 of Pentacles, and it's across from the Hierophant. So this is in our daily routine. Okay. So that's interesting. So it can talk about health. It can talk about what you do daily. And the 10 of Pentacles is a lot of people or everybody or something that involves the whole population. So that's interesting. And we've got the Hierophant, all eyes on a really big outing of, because that's the secretive house of Pisces, the 12th house, and it's across from the 6th. So everyone's going to know who the enemy is. And I feel like that's coming this summer. So we already know, but everybody else is. They're being educated. It's sitting back there somewhere. And one by one, all of these people are clicking it into place. But there's things that are going to happen between now and I'd say October that already get everybody up to speed on who have we really been at war with? Who's your real enemy? Who's been oppressing everybody? Who are these elites that run the world? The true deep state and Khazarian mafia and all of those names we call them, they're going to be outed by then and everybody's going to know.
Right.
Okay. And then this card, we clarify this would be the house of the 7th house of sort of relationships and important relationships. And because we're asking a big world question, okay, we're not talking about individual people's relationships. We're more talking about sort of what's going on politically in the world, because of course that's all eyes are on that right now. And this was saying already that we're already moving out of troubled water politically. And things are being outed nonstop. 6 of Swords, a whole bunch of information is coming out. And there's going to be a lot of fear porn. Okay, but this card doesn't manifest into the things you're fearing. Not when it's aspected with this really good card. Okay, so a lot of fear porn, but then it ends up being, okay, we'll just have a talk in the White House and let's figure this out. Because they've already done the deals. Okay, they're just showing you what's going on, but it's not really like, even though people are saying, okay, they're filming bombings and everything. Okay, like they can fake a lot of that. Okay, and they can, and not to say it's all fake, but they can also create, like use people to create the whole scene around it. They've had, like when it was the fake pandemic stuff, they were in hospitals in triage rooms, which you're not allowed to do film in triage rooms, and they were filming, and it was all crises actors and dummies on the tables and everything, and that all got discovered. Okay, so we don't know really what they're doing. Yeah, bombs are going off. Okay, but are they literally hitting the targets they're saying they are? Do we have a lot of theater with that? We don't know. Okay, and again, and people have been chiming in and telling me, okay, there's some YouTuber that's filming it all. Okay, keep letting us know what's going on there, because these cards are suggesting that we got a lot of foolery here. Okay, or it's not exactly as it seems. So
yeah, and anyway. The mix can I just chime in quickly there,
Yeah,
Janine? Because
yeah.
as this all went down the past week, we've got Jupiter in an exact square to Neptune, and those are the two rulers of Pisces in square, which is about lies and illusions. And it's not exactly what we're seeing here. So again,
Mhm.
not to say there aren't things happening in Iran, but we're not seeing the whole picture,
Yeah.
right? It's a time where there isn't the full clarity. So being mindful of that. Sorry to interrupt you, Janine.
No, and I really appreciate that. Like, you're exactly right what you're saying. Okay, so here we've got the 9. So we were talking about this. This is the 8th house of Scorpio, and it's across from the 2nd house of Taurus. And look at these two cards. So around what you value. So we're going to really come to terms with our true value. Certain, I feel like certain metals are going to come to into their true value. Gold's going to be revalued. Silver's going to be revalued. Copper's going to be revalued. These things are going to be revalued, and there's a lot less. So in the next year, because ACE is in the next year, a lot less intervention by big governments and or government overreach, that because we're going to be more sovereign financially. But this will take a year still, and there's still some fear porn to go through and scary
Right.
moments. It's not we're not done the scary stuff yet. Okay, but keep the big picture though when you're feeling fearful. That's what I would say. And this is the house of Sag. So that's that the house of Sag is about philosophies and how you think in a really big in the big sense. How do you think about the world? How do you think about other people? How do you think about people in places far away? Right, the house of Sag can be about world travel, etc. I feel like being like there's going to be some restrictions around world travel, or some reasons why you need to give it, be cautious and look out there. It doesn't say don't world travel, and it doesn't say you can't world travel, but I feel like really have a look at what's going on in the place you're planning on going, and just be really intuitive about it before you make your plan.
Yeah.
And then in the future, and I feel like by this time next year, that sort of thing, I feel like we'll be doing a lot more travel, and there's going to be all kinds of new ways to achieve travel. So I feel like we've got new modalities of travel that could be really exciting. We're in all new territory there.
Wow.
And our philosophies about things have really changed. So a lot of people with strict sort of are following doctrines and really strict, have really limited ideas around really, limiting ideas around how the world works. We're in all new territory because a lot of these ideas are going to get they're going to crumble. Like a lot of these big religions, we're discovering that a lot of them were infiltrated, maybe even created to enslave and repress people. And so people are going to be going in spiritual directions that are all new. And I feel like your best bet on that is go from a place of hearing and listening to your own inner voice. That's the real spiritual growth. Just listen to your higher voice. It's in you. You don't have to seek out God, goddess, energy, the universe, whatever you want to call it. It lives in you. It's the voice in you. We're all lit up by it. That's our light. But anyway, so a lot of people are going to go in new directions and go out of structured things, the structured ideas of governments, the structured ideas of how things are supposed to be in the world. And they're going to move in new directions and start forging new ways. So there's a lot of newness coming in with that card. And we're in all new territory. So it's going to be fascinating, but a little confusing sometime. This jumps us up by this time next year. So this is the house of Capricorn. So it's like, where are you going to be by this time next year? And that card is amazing. I feel like our world is even on the mend from any kind of harm that a lot of the poisoning big corporations have been doing. The chemtrails have been doing. I feel like we're like on our way to having a healthier world and healthier bodies to reflect that. Like she's abundant, healthy, creative. Yeah, humanity's moving into a good definitely in a good direction with that card there. Now here we've got the Six of Cups. We were talking about that across two sixes across from each other. Quite interesting. And this
Hmm.
is the 11th house of Aquarius. So it's about groups, gatherings, like strangers. It talks about the new ideas of Aquarius, the open mindedness of Aquarius, but also about how do you feel about groups? How important are group? Like this is a group listening to this. We got the truther group. We've got, all kinds of different things that some people get together in their church group. Some people get together in their friend groups. Like it's about those kind of gatherings of like-minded peoples. How important is it to you? I feel like that's going to be like gathering in groups of like-minded people. I feel like is going to be a really something that'll happen a lot more than it has been. I found that when I lived in Calgary for all the years I lived there, it was, and then the little short time I lived in Vancouver, you didn't know any of your neighbors really. I know some
Mm.
people get to know their neighbors, but certainly I didn't really. And some and I had some really difficult neighbors in Calgary for sure. Some of the places I lived, but it was very difficult to even want to get to know your neighborhood. Sometimes it was just like, I guess, the climate of the world or something. But I feel like that's really changing. I think we're going to want to get together in like-minded groups, and there's going to be a
Mhm.
lot more need for it because a lot of people will be discussing the new philosophies or their philosophical ideas. They're busting out of really maybe old ideas about how things should be socially, and realizing that we were really a lot of those ideas were formulated by the deep state.
Yeah.
And we were fooled, like with different rock bands, different musical groups, like you and I were looking at with Michael Jackson. He was even saying we were spell cast.
Mm.
Different musical groups, genres, and also dances, as he was saying.
Yeah.
So as those spells lift, and we're not under those spells, and those energies are dissipating, things are going to be different, and we're going to have more freedom to really creatively find our own way in those ways, and find our group again, find our and various groups depending on who you are.
Hmm.
Find each other. We're going to find each other. And I think there'll be more need to get together, like in groups again, like physically, literally come together. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Me too,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's been kind of lonely, uh, over the lockdown years and everything. Okay, so this is the deep unconscious, and something from your higher self wants to tell you a big secret. It's like, who's the enemy? The deep state. Who's the big secrets of the deep state? Exposing them. These guys are getting exposed. They're that's what shining all of that light on them is what's killing them, because they don't
Mm.
take too kindly to that. That's not they didn't they weren't that wasn't what they're not comfortable with that. They do everything in the dark and secretive, and
Exactly.
yeah. It's obviously there's a lot of shame and guilt, but they have some way of bystepping feeling any of it. I guess I don't know. Just the
Hmm.
disgusting things they do to children and humans and each other and themselves, and it's disgusting. This energy has to get cleaned up. We got to clean it up. Okay, so I'm going to pull one more right in the middle. Big ace. Yeah. All new
Oh my
energy. We're like we're going in new directions. We're going in, and things are really in a creative spot right now. So it's important for people to recognize that their consciousness, bring your awareness and consciousness to the present, because you're creating the future as we speak, think.
Oh my God. What a
Yeah.
spread, Janine. Oh my goodness.
So
That's
sorry, I
thank
didn't mean to do that. Like it was just
No, don't be sorry. That was totally meant to be. That was totally meant to be. And we've got two aces there. And I find it so interesting that all the work houses second house, sixth house, 10th house, all either pentacles or the Empress, right? It's all
Yeah.
about abundance. And then the other money house opposite the second house, eighth house of Scorpio, which is more like hidden money, investments, inheritances, another pentacle. And that makes sense with some of the things I want to share with you astrologically going into the summer, and also makes sense in the year ahead. This is a huge portal of opportunity for abundance in our gifts when we're aligned with our heart. And I think that's it's really coming through in the zodiac. So, wow, that's like, there's nothing to fear, that makes me feel like.
I love it. And I'll just say one more thing about the eighth house. So it's also rules all things Scorpio, so deep
Right.
spiritual energies. It's very independent. So becoming more independent spiritually. In other words, looking inward and following your own soul essence and voice, as opposed to doctrines and being told how to be spiritually. Nobody can tell anybody else how to be spiritually. That
No.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, for sure. No. And people are mind blown in the chat. Gabby says, that was fantastic. I will be replaying this. Wow. Yeah, I'll definitely be replaying that as well. Crypto Blonde Janine, what a great poll. Yeah, thank you, Janine. And that's part of it too, following the natural energies. You just naturally started to do a zodiac spread. So, okay, that's in perfect timing. Amazing. So, okay, can we move on to something else?
Please.
So
Yeah.
this is very interesting. So JC kind of created the slide deck here for me to fill in his shoes, and he wanted us to take a look at some Iran questions. So this is interesting. It's being reported that supposedly if Iran collapses, the regime officials likely will flee to Canada, as if it can't get more weird for Canada, right? It's being reported in the National Post. It's being reported in the Toronto Sun. Toronto Sun is saying hundreds of the Ayatollah's people already in Canada and more hoping to sneak in. Can we do a little read on, is this accurate or is this a nothing burger? Are we actually going to see the regime of Iran in Canada?
That is fascinating. Already happened.
Oh my
See
God.
that ace? So yes, in the past it already happened. So that must mean if we look, we would find that a lot of the these people already came here, or there's a huge communities of people from Iran.
Right.
Maybe that's what it's saying. But yeah, they're already here. Okay, so like I'm saying, everything's in like retrospect. It's like we're looking back and then it's playing out as if it's in real time. It's fascinating. So see that 10 in the, that's a facade card. Okay, so I think if people really woke up to who's actually come to Canada, I feel like now they're pointing a finger at and getting you to look and go down the rabbit holes. How many people from Iran have come to Canada, and how many of them might have been in that group that they mentioned, or from the leadership peoples? I don't know. Like it seems to me it's saying it already happened. So yes, but it already happened. That's how I'll answer that.
Wow. Wild. Okay. Yeah, it's so trippy how there's so many things that have already happened, but we're watching it play out in real time. So, okay, also having to do with Iran, we had, I think this was today. I can't even keep up. Was this today or yesterday? I don't even know. President Trump announces there is a substantial chance for negotiations with Iran. This is the White House press briefing with Carolyn Levitt. We'll just play a little clip of this from today.
The ongoing situation in Iran. I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved. In light of that news, I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. That's a quote directly from the president for all of you today. So we'll kick the ongoing situation in Iran.
Wow. So we're shifting gears over here. 1 second, it's making it seem like, oh my God, we're going into World War III, go into your bunker. And then the next day, it's, oh, actually, we're going to do a 2-week pause, and we're going to see if we can do negotiations like you were getting in the cards, right, Janine?
Yeah.
Could we pull on the next 2 weeks specifically? We're still in this solstice energy. We're in the last little bit of June, beginning of July. Could we possibly pull a 7-card pull on this, Janine, for the next 2 weeks? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, awesome.
Interesting. The Empress in the past, that is very strange. I'm going to have to pull a clarifier on why that would be there.
That's interesting because we just got her for the future in the zodiac spread. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, so past, present, near future. So you're talking about the next 2 weeks.
Next 2 weeks, yeah.
Well, none of this looks like war.
Okay.
Go like right now, everything got okay. We'll give it we're just going to cool it off. Okay, and then it gets more intellectual, so they're going to talk about things. Now, all of this is just what they're showing you. I don't think this all happened already. That's what's so confused. Like they're saying that, but it's all like they're just putting out news. They had it all planned, you guys. This is all just playing out. That's why the cards can even pick up on it. Like they planned this all out. Okay, so see the 3 of Pentacles there? The 3 of Pentacles is they're going to get together. They might even get together. There could even be 3 of them. So I feel like he'll get Israel, Iran, and himself to sit down, or he'll somehow forge something between those 3. There's 3 people involved here, or 3 countries.
Interesting.
So like he's going to be known as the big peace president, really, just like he said he would. And everybody's like, see, I don't know. People are funny. Like when he does all that huff and puff stuff, it's just a big show to get, like everybody on page or to pay attention to what he's saying. Right. He's not really. And he always backs down off the big huff and puff.
We've been seeing that. Sorry to interrupt you, but with the tariffs over and over again. Oh, we're about to slap you with 100% tariffs. And then last minute, no, gets taken back.
Yeah, it's a ploy. It's I guess, the art of war or something. I don't know. I haven't read The Art of War. I think I better read it. You know what I mean? So then we've got this is the hidden influence. We've got the 4 of Pentacles. Okay, so the 4 of Pentacles waits. Okay, and also like holds on to something. So it's like a waiting and even like buying time. I even feel like there could be a buying time. There also could be something they're waiting on financially with that, because there's pentacles and they're holding on to them. So they could be waiting on something to shift or something to move or something to happen financially that they already sort of put out and into motion. And then it'll come to fruition. So they could be waiting for something there. Okay. And that's why things get hot and then they get backed off, because meanwhile, there's all these military actions going on. I guess we're in the art of war, right? Okay. So here we've got, so this is something to pay attention to. We've got the 9. So it could ramp up again. Okay, with that card. So you could get that war talk again in the next 2 weeks. Okay, but really it'll always come back to with strength, and Trump will keep the whole thing will revolve around him. Why is it that every single country in the whole world recently, why isn't anyone questioning this, is always referring back to Trump? It's like he's already orchestrating everything in the whole world. And I believe it's the White Hat Alliance that is. Like, nobody seems to be questioning that. Like, everything, just all world news, Trump's like at the center of it. It's fascinating. Anyway, so here we've got the strength card. That could just be that it's because of the truther news does seem to revolve around Trump. Maybe I'm just off on that one.
I think you're right, Janine. I think you're right, because I see it on the normie news. It's all good press and bad press, and it's all the time. Yeah.
Okay, so then now we've got the strength card. So in strength, he'll always keep the strong position. He's always going to stay really, really strong and firm, but it will ramp up and then cool down again. And then they'll all sign a peace deal or something, because what we really want will happen, which is what Tucker Carlson says. Oh, well, like all of a sudden all these guys were throwing him under the bus. But I think that's just to remind you that, by the way, Tucker Carlson and all of those guys, they've all been on the other side. Okay. They're all capitulated and likely actors. It's probably not the real Tucker. You know what I mean? But he's been really good lately, but he's still, this person is still a capitulated person who came across over to Trump because he probably knew he was on the wrong side of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all of these people. So I feel like them doing that and throwing them under the bus and everything, even when Elon did, it's reminding you, pay attention. All of these guys are compromised.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And they could redeem themselves, and or maybe they're being arm twisted too. But just don't put anyone on a pedestal. Nobody's your hero, idol. Nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure.
So something really good's going to come out of it, and it's not going to be war, according to the cards. Okay, so it hasn't even been about that. I feel like they're going to actually show you that they have a huge peace deal with all these countries already. And I think it happened quite a while ago. Like, I've been getting that Israel wasn't what you thought it was. Even a year ago, I was getting that.
Right.
And that Netanyahu guy, that's an actor. And he's playing with the White House. Yeah, it is strange.
It's so strange. It's like, what the heck?
See that? There's a strategy. They're just being really strategic to get everybody watching the whole scenario and then have a big breakthrough. And guess who's going to be at the root of the big breakthrough? Trump.
Well, what you're saying, Janine, lines up with the astrology. I also don't think we're going to have this crazy World War III. And I think there's going to actually be some very beautiful things happening this summer, as we're going to get into. But first, did you say everything you wanted to say there with that spread? Okay, awesome. We've got a special guest on the show tonight, and it is none other than Jens. Hello, Jens. How's it going?
Hi, everybody. I'm good. If you see a tail popping up, Shia is on my lap, so...
All of us have our kitties, magical people. Yeah. We need our kitties around. I've been cuddling with our cats so much lately. Like you said, Janine, they've just been so helpful with the energies and transmuting everything that's going on. How have you been feeling, Jens, with the current energies and craziness? How have you been taking care of yourself, just like feeling overall?
I'm feeling pretty good, and actually what I was feeling is that there's a lot of happening on the world stage, of course, as you guys obviously talked about, with the Iran thing, but I feel there's also a lot of positive energy coming in, and I don't know if it's also related to the summer solstice that is so close now. I mean, it's getting the days are so long here now because it's almost the 21st, the longest day of the year. It's crazy how, I mean, last night, now it's too late, of course, now it's like almost 3 o'clock at night in Belgium, but I saw daylight like until, midnight, which is crazy. So I feel a lot of positive energy coming in, actually.
That's amazing. Yeah, I also feel the same, but it's so interesting. I was sharing on a show the other day, Janine, I don't think I told you this. I had a moment a few days ago where I totally went into the fear. Sometimes it happens, and I just had a moment. I was like, oh my God, we're about to go nuclear. It's all going to fall apart. And I was just like being a crazy Scorpio in fetal position on the couch. And Jens, my Sagittarius husband, was like, what the hell's wrong with you? Everything's fine. Relax. So it's so important, and that was affecting me because I was listening to kind of some negative people, and then one thing leads to another. We need to be so mindful what we're taking in during these times, because it is a lot of energy. And I feel like we can manifest things a lot quicker, whether that's positive or negative. Are you guys feeling that too? Janine, is that something that you're noticing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jens, are you noticing that too? Like if you believe something or you think something, it's manifesting a lot quicker?
Yeah, I think it has been happening for years. Actually, I've been feeling that because we're getting into these. If you compare the times now, comparing to the 90s, for example. I mean, I was still quite young then, but or the early 2000s. Things are just shifting so much faster, and there's definitely a huge shift happening. Yeah, like the feeling of time speeding up, right? Everybody says like time is just flying, and I feel it like when I do a show for Beyond Mystic. I'm all like, oh my God, it's Wednesday again. It's just great. It feels like what used to feel like a week feels like a day almost. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really does. And I'd love to share with you guys a little bit of the astrology that we've got going on. We are filming on the eve of the summer solstice. And of course, that's in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's the winter solstice. So happy solstice, everyone. And our solstices are very special times where the veils are very thin between worlds. We do go through energetic upgrades, and it's great times to be doing manifesting and cleansing work as well. The summer solstice in particular, it's the longest day of the year, of course, and it's our natural time in the northern hemisphere to celebrate the light, also celebrate the sun, love, and abundance in all its forms. So interesting. I don't know if you saw, Jens, but before you came on, Janine did this amazing zodiac spread at the beginning of the show, and there was a bunch of pentacle cards coming through, which, yes, can indicate abundance, through monetary means, but I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Janine, but it's not just the abundance of money, it's also the abundance of all kinds of resources, food, shelter, clothing, the pleasures and enjoyments of life, right? So it's not just about money, even though, of course, we need money at this time to survive. Abundance in all forms. It's a good time to celebrate that. Now, this solstice is extremely special because in Western astrology, the summer solstice is exactly when the sun enters 0 degrees of Cancer, and we enter Cancer season. Cancer season, of course, is the time of year that rules home, family, our ancestors. Jens is actually going to be hosting perfect timing. I don't think you even planned it, Jens, with the Cancer season, but you're going to be hosting this ancestral healing meditation next Tuesday. Why? I'll just pause on what I was saying astrologically. Why do you feel this is important to be bringing up at this time and sharing with everybody?
Well, there's multiple levels to it, of course. First is the personal level, because we all carry, like usually when people go into their healing, they at a certain point they start also looking at their childhood and healing their childhood on a healing journey. Because we all, if you're, I believe if you're incarnated on this earth, we all have healing to do at some point in our lives. Because we I don't think there's maybe a very, very few souls on this earth who don't have healing to do on this earth, because it's just part of the journey. But when you go beyond that, also what is also good is to look beyond it, because of course, if you talk about our ancestors, our parents are our direct ancestors. So there's obviously for a lot of people a lot of healing to be done around that. But there's also the influence of our grandparents, and also our other ancestors in the energy. So our further ancestors in the energy that's imprinting through our DNA, through the consciousness. Because DNA is, of course, mainstream science says it just carries our the blueprint of our physical body, but it's a lot more than that. It carries, it carries the patterns, it carries energies, it carries, stored emotions, also associated with energy. So, we can also have imprints from that kind of can limit us. For example, we can hold limiting beliefs about, for example, resources. Just to give an example, if there is, like, for example, had been a war, for example, for the ancestors, and they really had no food, that imprinting, that lack mentality, for example, or it can limit your abundance if you have imprints from from your ancestors that went through, for example, famine. And actually, when I did my first when I did this the first time, I felt a lot of things coming up, actually, and I was really surprised at how much I felt. I can expand a little bit more on that if you want me to, but I don't want to stop you from doing your astrology thing first, or
No, you can expand on that.
yeah. So what I was feeling is that so as we have two parents and we have four grandparents, and each of our grandparents has two parents. So it's like, it's called something, the mathematical minds who are watching this will recognize this as exponential growth. So it becomes very big very quickly. So at a certain point, it has to collapse. So it can grow, because if you would, for example, go back only 100 generations, you would have more people as ancestors than had ever lived. So what it means is that we're all related in some way, and that's how that exponential growth actually slows down. And what I was feeling in the meditation, and this is something historians call the pedigree collapse. So where you share actually common ancestors, so that exponential growth, because each person having two parents cannot go on forever.
Right.
And I was feeling that in the meditation, so I only looked it up afterwards, and I found confirmation for what I was feeling psychically, and I felt it like staying really wide. That pyramid, because it's like an inverted pyramid, right? You have 2, then you have 4, then you have 8, so it goes like this. And I felt it going really wide up until like Roman and Egyptian times, and then I felt it really like condensing into a few streams. And I felt just intuitively, I knew that it was like from Atlantis, because with the fall of Atlantis, there was like this catastrophe that happened, that only a few human lines actually survived. And so that was very interesting to me. And I also found then when I went back into the pyramid, I found like there was a lot of Viking DNA, a Viking influence, and which is normal, because I'm from European descent, and the Vikings around the 10th, and I felt around the 10th and 11th century, a lot of Viking influence that got infused in the DNA, and the Viking energy felt really, kind of rough and very, bit warlike and masculine, very masculine, which makes sense. And then I also felt like imprints from the 17th century, which were about famine and war that happened in Europe. So that was very interesting to me. So I do want to share that with the people, because I'm going to guide you through it, but you're going to work with your own psychic perceptions that you get from doing the meditation, and you can learn a lot from it, and also you can redo this meditation afterwards if you want, and the more consciousness you bring to it, the more you can be released from these imprints, which helps us. And so that's the personal side. The other side of it is that the elites, they use these traumas, collective traumas that we have. They know that we have them, and they use them to manipulate us. For example, you saw that during the pandemic, is they used the threat of for scarcity, like people running for. I don't know if that was in Canada and the US, people running for toilet paper, but that was the case in Europe.
Yeah,
that was I don't never get that one. That was just ridiculous. And people hoarding food. So they play into trauma. The elites, the dark forces, play into trauma to manipulate us. So in this way, also this ancestral healing meditation can help to shed more light onto that, to be less susceptible to those manipulations.
Janine, have you ever done ancestral healing work of any sort?
Well, maybe not directly, but it is fascinating. What Jens is saying makes so much sense. It's like, wow, I'm bringing up just mind blown. I'm getting mind blown. It just opens up so many things, and so many ways to look at what's happened in my past and people I know past, but I do know a lot of people who work with that kind of healing. So I completely, I've heard of it, and I've done some regression work, but not very directly a meditation on healing ancestral wounds or whatever. So it does sound like something that probably I'd like to do, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I want
Yeah,
to do.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
it's fascinating.
it is fascinating. And Jens is very, very good and gifted at guiding the meditations over on the Beyond Mystic Academy. So if you want to sign up for that, it'll be live next Tuesday at 1 p.m. But there's also the replay, and you get unlimited access to listen to it. And I'll share, when I first started my spiritual awakening journey, I was, only connecting to the galactics and my spirit guides and these like higher beings. And I wasn't even taking very good care of my body. And then when I got more into shamanism, a lot of that has to do with the ancestors and my Celtic shamanic lineage. And wow, there was huge things that came up for me when I started to do ancestral healing. We not only have the soul lineage, we also have the physical lineage of our literal blood and physical DNA. And we do hold those things. And some traditions say even we hold it back 7 generations, certain traumas. So I think it's very important work and totally in alignment with the astrology, with us being in Cancer season, which is all about home and family. And it's not a normal Cancer season, you guys, very special Cancer season, because it's our first Cancer season in 12 years that we've got the Sun and Jupiter in Cancer together. And what makes this summer solstice so special, which also the chart of the summer solstice shows the energy of the whole summer ahead. Why I'm so excited is because we have the most positive aspect in astrology, Sun conjunct Jupiter on the solstice, which is with us for the whole summer. With Sun conjunct Jupiter, Mars sextile Jupiter, Moon exactly sextile the Sun. These are very positive aspects that are showing us that this season ahead is actually going to bring great positive breakthroughs for all of humanity. It's very rare to get all those kinds of most positive aspects in astrology together. And Jupiter in Cancer is expanding the Cancer influence. So guys, if you do ancestral healing work, even just spending time with your family, having in-depth conversations with your family, if there's been issues with your family this Cancer season or this whole summer season ahead, there can be huge breakthroughs. We can move through huge hurdles or fights that we've been going through. I know a lot of us in our like-minded community, there's been some issues with family members. I know I've definitely been going through that. I think, have you guys been going through that at all too? Just different perspectives, things going on. So we all know about that. So yeah, it's a very special solstice chart with also the dispositor of the Sun in Cancer. So what the heck that means is, because Cancer is the sign that the Sun is in at the time of solstice, it's important to look at the ruler of Cancer, which is the Moon. Exactly at the solstice is 0 degrees of Taurus. The Moon is exalted in Taurus. She loves to be there. 0 degree, the strongest degree. So Janine, there's so much showing in the cards and also the astrology: abundance, resources, positivity, enjoyment.
That's why the Empress came up.
That's why the Empress came up.
She's pregnant with abundance and could be a Cancer woman. Absolutely. Or even a Taurus Cancer combo. She could be all of them. She could be she's the divine feminine.
That is so cool. Wow. And I think I talked last time, a couple of weeks ago when I was on the show, Janine, about how we're having this very rare triple planetary aspect combination as well at the time of solstice that'll actually be exact later in the summer. Very, very special. Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus all in exact positive aspects. There, in my personal astrological opinion, there's not going to be a crazy nuclear war with these kind of positive aspects. This is showing actually blessings and breakthroughs, moving past barriers into the ascension process. So that's my personal take. But also at the same time, okay, we do have to share the good with the challenging. There are intense aspects in the solstice chart, including Saturn conjunct Neptune and the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in a square to the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So these aspects indicate that structures of life in the matrix system are dissolving fast. Saturn and Neptune and Aries at an Aries degree is things happening fast, right? We saw with this whole war ramp up, that happened very fast, right? So things will be dissolving, coming up very fast. And at the same time, issues between countries, the sign of Cancer rules countries, all coming up to the surface at the same time, which may be very overwhelming, but I do think there will be some breakthroughs. So we will see about that. What else do we want to bring up, you guys? Anything coming to mind? Oh, also, I wanted to share. Where is this here? I have so many freaking slides. Sorry, you guys. Bear with me one sec. I was going to bring up something about Cliff High's spike in emotional values. I think there's a big spike. JC wanted me to bring that up the first week of July. Is that something that you've taken a look at yet, Janine? That spike in emotional value we have?
I don't think I literally read on it. I can't remember. Jean-Claude and I read on lots of things, but I certainly have seen that July, August, September, and October just have their own huge crazy, each one. And there could be events, even really big world events. Kind of like what we were talking about. We were talking about a real natural one for December in our last show we just did earlier today. Yeah. But I feel like there's events coming this summer too that are more maybe orchestrated White Hat Alliance, maybe not natural events.
Definitely. So, oh my God, we're getting to the hour mark of the show. And you guys, we have some giveaways before we finish up here. We're going to do a giveaway from Ascension Organites, also Floraline soaps, and the Scorpling Shop from Sunny and I. So Carla, my team over at Ascension Organites have these awesome EMF hats available, protection with purpose. There's a limited quantity available, so you can go check those out at Ascension Organites. And who wants to come up with a question for the audience members first for a giveaway? Jens, do you have a question for the audience members for someone to win an EMF hat?
Sure. Maybe for the viewers who are very attentive, paid attention. When did I say that the Vikings were spreading over Europe?
Oh my God, I don't even remember that. When did you say that the Vikings were spreading over Europe?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Who's paying attention? We'll let the chat populate. And that's so interesting that you felt that there was Vikings in your DNA. Do you want to let me know in the personal chat what the answer is so I know when we look at the comments?
All right, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I think
that's a pretty hard. That's a hard Sagittarius question, Yanzi. Oh my God, you're going like really deep into the history. Okay, let's see what you put. Oh, okay. I think there's been some people getting it. Okay, there's some people getting it. So let's see here. We'll go through and tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. Liz Nugent got 1100th century. Is that the right way to say it? 11th century?
The 11th century. 11th century. Correct, yeah.
Okay, congratulations, Liz. Please email us over at beyondmystic.net under the customer support tab, and we will get that out to you. Congratulations on winning an EMF hat from Ascension Organites. And next, we're going to give away some soaps, beautiful soaps from FloralineFarm.ca. Janine, do you have a question for the audience members for someone to win a pack of soaps?
I do. What was in the second house in the zodiac across from the Nine of Pentacles? What card was in the second house and they aspected each other? In the zodiac, the first spread I did.
So what card was in the second house?
Yeah, so it was ruled by, the Taurus house, the second card down in my zodiac.
Okay, you guys, who is paying attention? It's always fun on Rumble. We got lots of people live in the chat. Okay, we have some people getting it. And Janine, let me know when to stop. Oh,
Stop.
lots of people. Stop. Scene lady, says the Empress. No?
No.
Oh, it's not
Read
the
my
one.
note. Read my notes.
Oh,
So the second
oh.
house, the second card down.
Oops, I was getting it confused. Okay, the second house, second
Yeah.
card down.
So the
Okay, we got some people
financial
there.
house. We talked about it like.
Okay, sorry, you guys. Sorry, scene lady. We'll get one out for you too. Send us an email and we'll get one out for you too, scene lady. Okay, Janine, tell me when to stop. Okay, Sassy 1791. Congratulations, Ace of Pentacles.
Yep.
Great. So we got some soaps going out there. Awesome. Thank you, Janine. And let's also give away an astrological crystal kit. We got lots of giveaways today, you guys. Oh my goodness. You guys are lucky duckies with our Sun conjunct Jupiter and entering Cancer season, which is very much about generosity. I find Cancers are very generous, loving, nurturing. So we're spreading that vibe. Okay, what question do I want to ask everybody? Okay, what is the sign that Saturn and Neptune are both conjunct in at the moment? What is the astrological sign that we have Saturn and Neptune in conjunction in at the moment? I'm sure there's some people out there that know the answer. We've got some people saying it. A lot of people saying something that it isn't, but some of you guys are getting it. Okay, I'm going to go through. Here we go. And Rosie Thorne, 8847. You are correct. It's Aries. It's not Cancer, you guys. Saturn and Neptune are conjunct in Aries. We haven't had that since Babylonian times, end of Babylonian times. Wild. Congratulations, Rosie Thorne. Email us at beyondmystic.net and we'll get a astrological crystal kit out to you. And please put in your email what your sun sign is so we can get you the proper kit. So yeah, Janine, do we want to do an end spread, some parting wisdom before we finish off today's show?
Yeah, let's do a little Kachina knife on just how to get through the weekend.
Sounds good. Yeah,
Right?
we're going to need it.
Let's have a look. Just anything the universe wants to tell us going into the weekend.
Yeah.
Going into the solstice weekend. Exciting.
Very exciting.
And Jens, everything you were saying, like my mind's still just going, wow. I'm starting to think about all these weird patterns both my parents had, and they were all from their childhood traumas. It's just wild. My dad would never, ever eat vegetables, and especially turnips or any kind of root vegetables, because they practically starved to death on a farm. My grandma would make turnip soup, and that's like, and she grew her own turnips because my grandpa would go off to work for weeks and weeks at a time and not come home for weeks, and barely have any money when he did come home. It was really hard times, and they had 7 kids on the farm, and grandma would feed them turnip soup like for weeks at a time. And my dad, if you even bring a turnip in the house, he'd be so offended. And we had to have meat 3 meals a day, or he didn't feel safe.
Wow.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of that. Just even bringing your mind over there. And starting to think about those things. It's so important. Wow. Okay. So we've got some intense cards here. We've got the 3 of Swords, which is like a kind of a past hurt and a lot of past hurts coming up. Okay. So maybe it's astrological. I'm not sure, but a lot of people, I'm going to talk about this really personally to everybody who's watching, because this feels really personal to the group watching. Okay. So I feel like a lot of old hurts and old understandings about things are going to resurface we're going to be
Mm.
triggered, or there's triggering things that are going to happen. And like what maybe even happened for you, Meg, you were talking about being like fetal position on the couch.
Right.
I feel like don't be surprised if some things could really be ouchy this weekend, triggered by news reports, things people are saying, maybe things your family's saying, maybe what's on the news more like. Okay. And also, a lot of people could be triggered by things Trump's saying out there, because that's a Trump card in this community. So people could be, and a lot of people might be throwing him under the bus here because of things he's saying. But I feel like wait before you do that, because things that he's saying are more like comms and less literal. So not to say we forgive him for anything, not saying that. We got to hold everybody's feet to the fire, but just be a little patient with your judgment and understand you're probably watching comms, not necessarily like everything we're watching is every time the cards look at it, it's something totally different going on. So if you take it too literally, and you get all ouchy about it, it's probably a big waste of your energy. All right. You might want to just pull that in and just wait it out a little. Okay. There does seem to be something a little mind blowing here, especially to the general population. Like this is a revelation card, but it's right in the middle. So it's like the general population. So the general population could really get a big like drop of information, or there's a big awareness, or a large part of the population who aren't aware yet become a lot more aware by the end of the weekend. So that's going to be interesting. Like we've had these big, it's like a big spurt of a whole bunch of people that have had this trickle going in the back of their mind somewhere, and all of a sudden there's going to be a mass awakening, and it may not seem like it at first, because a lot of people don't talk about that or admit it, but you're going to see over the weeks and months following a lot more people really coming over to these kind of videos, and also just knowing more than you thought they did, like and being a little more on board with what we're talking about. So be surprised and don't underestimate. Humans are waking up. Okay, now we've got the Hermit, something to remember and sort of advice here. So spend some alone time or individual time or spiritual connect time. So some people meditate. My version of meditation is playing music I love and doing something completely not structured, right? So sing, movement, something I didn't structure, art, creativity, something. So everybody has different ways to connect, but find a way to connect to soul energy, whatever that is. For some people, it's sitting in nature. For other people, it's petting their pets. And, everybody has a different way to do it. So find a way to have some really connect time with your inner self, meditative time and/or introspective time. Even this Hermit can be quite introspective. And then we've got the Chariot here. Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe less movement and more. I feel like more of this and less of this. These two are really opposite. So I feel like less charging around and taking risks out there. This guy takes risks, chances, and moves around a lot and is really in the physical world. And maybe more introspection, time alone, and peaceful energy. So more of this and less of that.
Wow. Very, very interesting. And that makes sense, Janine, what you're saying about there may be some feelings, emotions coming up from the past. Cancer does rule the past, right? So with Jupiter in Cancer and the Sun in Cancer starting tomorrow, there can be a lot coming up to the surface. Let yourself cry if it comes up. Let yourself process whatever comes up, because we don't, similar to the ancestral karma, we don't want those things to be stored in our body.
How are they controlling all these other governments in the world? They're like the seat of the deep state, in my humble opinion. Okay, so this is what the cards have been saying for quite some time. So really, the whole situation there is a bunch of comms, and I don't believe it's going to escalate. It'll look like it does, right to the brink of what appears to be going to be in the war, but I don't actually get it is. And I think it's not about that, and it'll go a totally different direction by the end of the weekend. But that's just what I've been getting in the cart, so I'll just throw that out there. But he said this really interesting thing. So he's been like really calming, signaling Q a lot in the last year and a half. Okay, but in particular lately, okay, and he was wearing a white hat when he said this, and it's right from the Q board. Okay, he said, "I was the hunted, and I am now the hunter, and now I'm the hunter." Okay, so that's right off the Q board. It was a big Q post. Okay, and it makes a lot of sense. So he's been cleaning the swamp, or well, he's the front of, he's the brand of the White Hat Alliance. So it's really he speaks for them. Okay, that's what I mean by that. And the fact that he was wearing a white hat, okay, usually that hat he wears is red. Oh, he just happened to have his white hat on. Okay, so he's a white hat. He's part of the White Hat. He's one of the head of the White Hat. Okay, so he's a White Hat Alliance, and he's even, leading the White Hat Alliance, or they're using his brand. Okay, so then he says that saying. Okay, so I want to know, is he in fact calming? Is that a calm towards Q? Is he trying to send everybody back to the Q boards? Is he signaling that a lot of deltas are coming up, and we're going to need to pay attention because a lot of things are going to be happening that Q actually predicted some years ago, sometimes 4 and 5 years ago. Q board was around, I think it started up in correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys, but I think 2016. Okay, when you first saw a Q drop, but it might have been 2017, but it's been around for quite a while, and a lot of people were following the Q drops. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Q drops, you better go do some go do some deep diving. Okay, so let's have a look. Him saying that, is he actually, so that's the first question, is he actually nodding to Q and sending us to the Q drops? Is that what he's doing? So we've got a major arcana. This is my death card, so that's really interesting. He might be cueing and or calming, let's say calming, the deep fakes that have been going on. Okay, that's interesting because this card can also be about deep fakes, by the way. And this is my White Hat military card. Okay, but I've been calling good military. So he's somehow getting us to look at that. That would probably be the white hat, the fact that he's wearing a white hat. Because usually the words I say right after white hat, I say good military or White Hat military, or I say alliance. All of those words, I usually use them together. Okay, so I think that and also the fact that it's a big old movie you're watching. So 2 major arcanas in the second row is a yes. So he's absolutely doing that, but he's doing some other things too. He's also given a big nod to the White Hat military. That's with the hat. That would make sense. He's also giving a nod to how he's been there. He's been the shadow government behind what we thought was, I certainly didn't think, and I bet you most people watching here didn't believe that whole Biden joke, kind of fake Biden thing that went on for 4 years. Okay, that was really just a walk of shame for the Biden regime, I guess, or the Democrats, really. And all it did was, the whole time, I believe these guys were completely puppeted by White Hat Alliance. And in the background, who was pulling the strings were like Trump and as the front of the alliance in the White Hats. Okay, and that's, so this card in the middle, he's showing the public something with this card in the middle, because that's what does the public see, that he's been in charge, because his hat has right on the side, and everyone jokes that, oh, it's a mistake, right? 45-47. So not comma and not and, okay, but a dash. So he's been in charge, okay, in the US. He's been in charge. He's been leading, okay, since 45, and he never stopped in 46. Or I'm sorry, he's the number 45th president, and he was 46, and he's now 47. Okay, and then other people will also comment that actually it's a republic, so we got whole other numbers, but I think that's for maybe more the normies, so they'll understand that he's been in the background all this time. Okay, so it's calming a lot of things. It's not just the one thing I asked about, so it's all of those things. Wow. Okay, so there's so much undercurrent things going on. It's really hard to follow. I've always, since the beginning of June, I've been saying this is going to be the trickiest month as far as like psyop after psyop, false flags. Expect them. That's another interesting thing. He planted 2, so brand new. He paid for them flags and flagpoles, and he paid for them out of pocket, and he got all new flags made. Okay, and it's like he's reclaiming the White House. Okay, that was another interesting thing that he did. So he's reclaiming the White House. That's what I think he was doing with that. And maybe with the 2 flags, some people are saying he's warning about false flags. That's going to be my next question. So my next question is about the 2 flags that he put in front of the White House. Okay, one in the front and one, I believe, on the south lawn. So north and south lawn, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments where exactly they're put, but on 2 different sides of the White House, there are now 2 new US flags, and they were created by, and I think we should probably look really closely and count those stars. I wonder if there's 51 of them. Where he's including Canada as the 51st state. But anyway, that'll be for another day. But let's ask, what's he saying with the 2 flags? So is he doing what I'm thinking? So I'll say it like that. Is he reclaiming? Because remember that DC was like London and like the Vatican, its own kind of country into itself. Basically, it's an entity that doesn't actually literally belong to the US, the corporation of the United States of America. Okay, but it did belong, or maybe he's reclaiming it back for the republic, right? So anyway, it's also so fascinating, and it gets, I know, a little confusing, but let's see what he's talking about there. Is that what he's getting at? That he's putting these 2 flags sort of on either side of the White House? Is he actually saying, I'm reclaiming DC back to the people? Okay, because that was my interpretation on that. Let's have a look, see what the cards say. Thanks for coming up with that. I forgot to tell Coco I was going to look at the 2 flag situation. Good save on that, Coco, helping me out there. All right, let's have a look. We've got the Page of Cups. So there's a soft yes, so that's part of it. Okay, but there's also something about secret hidden things. So it could be about false flags, psyops. Okay, somehow psyops. Maybe he's undoing a spell too. He might be undoing a spell. He's doing this ritual of planting these 2 flags. Maybe there's protection to it. Okay, but he also could be cautioning about false flags and etc., because that's a psyop card, because a false flag is a psyop in a way, right? It's completely fooling people about something, right? A false flag literally means something is done, and it could be devastating, like 9/11, for instance, and then they name somebody else that did it, but they don't name who actually did it. And in the case of 9/11, of course, we know it was the government of the United States at the time, but acting on behalf of what appears to be, I believe, the deep state, otherwise known as maybe that country we were just talking about earlier. You know what I'm saying? Right? So a lot of things tie back to the Rothschilds created, by the way, they created Israel. And there's a video footage of that Rothschilds guy with the big egg head. What's his name again? talking about why and how they created Israel. Like it's literally a created illusion. Okay. So people living there may not even know that. Right. And so it's not about the people living there. It's about the government and the fakery that was created around that and the trickery around that place and how they've been controlling all the governments ever since. But anyway, so here we've got the moon. And so it's definitely a soft yes on that, but there's more to it once again here. And I feel like there's going to be a really big, I would watch this summer, really big reveals about all of this stuff, you guys. Going into the summer, I feel like this is like, we're just starting the reveal. This is like the summer of huge secrets revealed. And Cliff High's been talking about secrets revealed. We're right in the thick of secrets being revealed. So many things are being revealed, and I feel like they're on their way to revealing big secrets about what's been going on under maybe the White House and or how the White House has maybe not even been used for the last 4 years when Biden was supposed to be there. They weren't even using the White House. There's all kinds of people keeping an eye on the White House, and weird things were going on and didn't look like anybody was living there. You know what I mean? Like just such weirdness going on. Okay. And all of it leading back to, you know, this big information war we're in, this big reveal time that we're in. We're literally being told, and it's getting clearer and clearer, even from Trump's mouth. Okay, exactly what's actually going on with that tweet he did about Obama. All roads lead to Obama. Oh my goodness. I feel like they're about to tie all of these loose ends together and really start making sense of this. We're at the everything doesn't make very much sense right now, but I feel like it's all going to get tied together and make sense. But I think we got a few more months of keeping our eyes really sharp before that all happens. Wow. Okay. Thanks for looking at that with me, everybody. We got some things we want to talk about. Astral healing meditation with Jens. 10% with code healing10. And I think I said Jens, but you pronounce his name Jens. And I met him in person at the conference, and he's absolutely amazing. Like even just being around his energy, you know, you're around an old soul's energy. You know how that is. Yeah, he's a cool guy. Okay, so there's that. And then there's save 50% off. Like if you ever wanted an insider access pass to watch all the Beyond the Newses, there's a public Beyond the News on the Rumble channel, but there's 2 other Beyond the Newses Jean-Claude and I do on the insider access pass. So this is a good one, and it's 50% off right now. So that's a steal of a deal. You want to check that out. Okay, so my second situation I want to look at. So a lot of people, so not really a situation, I'm really going to ask the universe, what do we need to know this weekend? Because a lot of people are expecting scary things to happen. Like there's so much ramping up. And by the way, I just want you to notice that every maybe 3 weeks, maybe once a month, they ramp up a new war. Have you noticed that they've completely stopped talking about Russia and the Ukraine? Oh, all of a sudden, nobody's even talking about that because now we're all looking over here at the Middle East. You know what I mean? And isn't it interesting that the guy they're saying is the supreme leader, okay, because I don't believe in supreme leaders of anybody, but calling himself the supreme leader in Iran. Okay, they're showing this guy that looked exactly the same in the 80s. And there's quite a lot of evidence that he actually was taken out in about 1986. They got the same guy running around, looks identical to what he looked like in the 80s. How does that make any sense? I feel like we're in a big movie on that one. Okay, I'm really not buying a lot of the, at least footage they're showing about what's going on and who the leader of Iran is. I'm like, chime in the comments if you guys know anything. I don't know too much about that area of the world, but chime in, please, because just using my common sense, I'm like, something's real fishy about what's going on over there. Okay, and or what they're saying is going on. Okay, we got to be so careful. Look what happened with the whole, like we found out everything about what they first originally told us about the Ukraine war or whatever it was. Okay, it wasn't true. It was Russia cleaning up the deep state out of Ukraine, and cleaning out the tunneling, the child trafficking. It's unbelievable stuff that goes on. Ukraine was like the money laundering center for the US government when they were the deep state government. Right. And probably was doing that for the whole deep state all over the world. Okay. And it was also a playground for pedophiles. Ukraine, an incredible hub for moving human trafficking all around the world, in particular babies and children, baby farms, all kinds of disgusting things, biolabs. Okay, that's what Putin was trying to do, is clean that up. Okay, and I think he had done it, and it started way earlier than they said. They're showing they're showing things months after they actually happened. So just to remind everybody what I've been getting in the cards. Okay, so that's what I've been getting in the cards. That's the short version of what I've been getting. Okay, so now we're looking at another situation that is, they got the same playbook with what's going on there. They're ramping it up and scaring the what out of everybody. And Europe's been on red alert. First, it was Russia was going to start a big war with all of Europe. Every time they talked to Putin, he was like, I have no plans to start a war with the UK. But the UK government and all the governments were like, oh, he's going to start a war, try to take all of Europe. No, he wasn't. He's actually a white hat. He works with the white hats, the guy that is playing Putin. By the way, they took out Putin. He was swapped out about 11 or 12 years ago. But anyway, that's another rabbit hole. You want to go down that? He's a white hat. Okay, so let's have a look at this weekend. What does the universe want you to know? Okay, never mind what they're telling you in mainstream media or even truther news. Some of the truther news is just a whole bunch of controlled opposition lately too. I'm just saying. Yeah, so let's have a look at what really do we need to pay attention to. Okay, it's going to be frustrating. It already is, and you're going to hear more war rhetoric. You better believe it, because fives can be war when you ask in political questions. And here we've got, but really there's see, this card says what they're saying, and here's what they're not saying. So there's a war going on. It's already going on. Okay, but it's not the one they're making this big production out of. Okay, so it's not the one they're saying Israel and Iran are in and or starting, or the one Israel wants the US to be involved in. That's not the one. The real war, and you're watching it play out, is the information war. Okay, that's already ongoing. It's the White Hat Alliance against the deep state war. That's been going on for years. Okay. So so they've got all of these things they got you looking at, but the underlying thing is not being openly talked about yet anyway. And like I said, Trump's been alluding to a lot of that stuff lately, wearing the white hat and saying the things he's been saying. Yeah, we're getting around to where that becomes common knowledge, by the way. But most of this community's known that for a long time. Okay, so here we've got this. We're going into the weekend. Remember that you manifest your reality. So what you focus on, she's focusing on comfort and abundance. That's what the Queen of Pentacles focuses on. She knows she's worthy. That's in her best place. So this is what you want to do going in. Focus on how you want it to go, not how it appears in the news. Okay, so in the face of all evidence to the contrary, think about something and believe in something as if it's the way you want it to be, not the way you are being told it is. So go away from the fear porn, like I'm saying here, and imagine the world in a way that you feel would be a good world to be in. Okay, that'll really help bring about your best results. Okay, here we've got the Hierophant in the middle. Okay, so what everybody else is seeing. So the good thing is this, whatever's going on and all of the sort of theater that's playing out in the politics is really educating a lot of people about who their real enemy is. So that's actually a good thing. Like 5 years ago, nobody would even dare speak out against what Israel's been doing, their government, not the people, the government of them. Okay, so what they've been doing all over the world and how they've planted people in all the governments, and basically they're the head of the deep state. Okay, so nobody'd even be like, you'd be anti-Semitic if you said that. Okay, so now people are really starting to go, you know what? These guys have been hiding behind that for a really long time. It's not even like, they're not even coming from the original, what people would be known as Jewish people. Do you know what I mean? So there's so many lies upon lies built on this just so they can get away with the stuff they've been getting away with. And it's starting to be revealed, and people are not afraid of just telling it like it is. Thank goodness. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, we'd still be in the enslaved state. Okay, we can break free when we're not afraid of these guys. Fear is what's been holding everybody at bay all of this time. Okay, so the near future is safety and caution going forward. So safety and caution, it'll ramp up. It'll absolutely ramp up and look really scary. Surrender to something's going to go on that looks really scary. Okay. And it may be, I think a false flag's going to happen. I do believe it will this weekend, but it'll actually be not as like, it'll look way worse than it is. Let's say that it'll look way worse. So we need to really understand that you're being educated about what a false flag looks like, and how they start wars and how they get other countries into wars. It's like they're playing it out for you, okay, right in your face, okay? But I don't think literally does the U.S. literally get into the war. And then it feels like towards the end, I don't know if that's the weekend or is that 8 days from now? That's 8. So that could be hours, days, maybe weeks. Okay, weeks at the most with swords, but sometimes it's even hours. There's going to be, I feel like, a coming together. We might even see the Iranian leader, that guy they're saying is the leader. I don't know. Have a good look at that, guys. Guys, look into that for me. Is that like, didn't he pass away in the 80s? Like, that guy can't be real. But anyway, so a lot of these people are not real anymore, right? Okay, so see that card there? It feels like maybe he'll even end up making a deal with that guy. And I'm talking about Trump, okay, or the guy playing Trump, because that's not the real Trump either, right? Like, these are actors with masks on. Okay, so the real Trump, though, is safely somewhere and helping lead White Hat Alliance. That's what I believe. So whatever does appear to happen to Trump, because there's all these rumors going around about he's going to be hurt or whatever, it won't be real Trump, first of all, and likely it's a white hat psyop. Okay, that's what I'm just saying. That's what everything's been leading to that. Every time I look at anything that's happened in the last 3 years, it's been a white hat psyop to teach us stuff. But anyway, so here we've got the Ace of Swords and the Fool. So there does seem to be, right at the last minute here, when things look really bad, a turnaround in the whole situation, and possibly an agreement of some kind. But yeah, so hold on to your hats, everybody. Have a good sense of humor, a little detachment. Try to see the big picture. Try to understand what you're being taught. Okay, and try not to stress. Maybe get some outdoor time.
神圣裁决。
Ngồi nó cố ngon nha. Sợ hút ngay. Nghe là khó kìa.
神圣裁决。